listening to local coverage from our station here in New York, WCBS, on the crash at Times Square. And we want to go to Michelle Miller now, who is out at the scene. Michelle, what can you tell us about what's happened out there in the last hour?
Essentially, Times Square is on lockdown. You can see that the police have extended the barricade an extra block. This incident happened. If you could please move back so I can show the shot back here. You can see the burgundy Honda just behind me, sir. That burgundy Honda way back in the distance, just beyond the NYPD van, is what caused all this pandemonium. I spoke with two witnesses, the first telling us that he heard a loud boom. After that boom, he looked up, he saw the car. The barricades, those steel barricades that have now been put in place since several of the terrorist attacks overseas. Well, I'm on live, sir. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Hold on with me. Bear with me.
Okay, Michelle.
Police are extending the barricade, as you see. It has been pushed back several times over and over again. And I think from what they are telling us, that they are moving the barricade simply because they're extending the search.
Interview witnesses at this time. Let's listen in to see what they're saying.
How was the tourist? How was the tourist?
How do you retain? This is by force, right?
No, somebody knocked him out. The bouncer from Planet Hollywood, he's the one hit him up. He hit him one time.
Because he was trying to escape.
Yeah, escape. He's running.
So, sir, the driver was trying to run from the scene.
From the scene. So soon he's trying to run from the scene. First guy you see is the bouncer from Planet Hollywood.
The bouncer.
Yeah, the bouncer hit him. So we hit him, all this come out of blood. So we jump and tap him. And we
held him down.
Yeah, and we rip the shirt. We want to make sure he don't have no belly on him, or we don't have no gun, no knife or anything. So I went and searched him everywhere. He's clean, and the police is ready here.
So the police, you held him down, helped hold him down until police arrived.
The police arrived, yeah.
And can you tell me how this all unfolded? What did you first see?
What I first see is I see the car coming in.
And how was it coming?
Oh, fast. Fast. No brake, no nothing. It's a bang. Before I realize there's fire down the car. And I see the guy with the white shirt laying down behind the car. Man, I'm running to go save my friend, my co-worker. Man, my co-worker jumped from the scene. Man, the old man don't have no chance because the car hit him from the back.
So the car ran into him?
Yeah, so as soon as I see the fire, I have to run the guy out of there. Because
and did it look like the man was under the influence? Did it look like it was intentional?
Nah, he's not drunk. I don't know if he's drunk. I don't smell alcohol. Okay? Because he turned around, I see his face.
And did he say anything to you guys?
Yeah, he said they make him loose because I got him tough.
Still continuing to expand this perimeter, moving us further. But as you heard from this ticket agent from one of the tour bus companies, he was right there. He saw as his car was careening out of control.
no problems here. Just take your time and keep exiting the building. There's no need to bunch up and run. Take your time. There's no problems here. Thank you.
Safety announcement.
Yeah, I think something might happen there. I see one crying, I see one with his leg injured.
22 dead, 59 wounded, many struggling for their lives right now in 8 different area hospitals in and around Manchester in England after the attack last night at the Ariana Grande concert at this huge concert hall. As the concert came to a close, explosion went off, suicide bomber was found. They've already made one arrest. I want to now bring in, by the way, ISIS has just taken responsibility for the attack. They say one of their members was the one who perpetrated this horrific crime, killing, we understand, sadly, children. Let's bring in now Milwaukee County Sheriff and a familiar face here on Fox News, David Clark. Sheriff Clark, we understand the DHS has responded. They have no credible reports here, but I imagine security is going to change in concerts for the foreseeable future. Am I correct?
Yeah, it has to. This is going to be the way of life for some time, but at least we have a president. And doesn't he make you proud, just to listen and watch him on the world stage and how the world gets to see that we have a leader. He's not out there on this apology tour. He's out there, and he knows, he being President Trump, knows that America must take the lead. Sure, we need allies, but we must take the lead, whether we like it or not, to root out terrorism. The world comes together in condemnation of what we saw last night in Manchester. The gore, the ugliness, the pain, the death. And we grieve with them, but at the same time, the world's going to have to come together. And this president knows that and show the resolve to root these individuals out and to kill them. I was glad to see this Navy SEAL raid, and there have been several like that. Those are the sorts of things that are going to have to be necessary. But the world's going to have to support us. Come along with us, but support us if they don't want to or they don't have the means. Because this is a worldwide problem now. I've said this before, that it's just a matter of time before there's a suicide bomber in the United States again. And, it's going to be a game changer, obviously. You've mentioned the changes that are going to be necessary at some of these mass events. That's what the terrorists do. They go after events where there are a lot of people so they can inflict a lot of damage. But we cannot shut down the American way of life because of this. We're going to have to stare this evilness down. Al-Qaeda, once again, shows that their immoral elevator has no bottom floor. These are the people who have put people in cages and set it on fire, put people in cages and dropped it in water to have people drown, chopped off heads, attacked Christians in prayer on Palm Sunday. It's unbelievable that there are still people in this country, and they're mainly on the left, who don't see this for the crisis that it really is, and they find excuses for this nonsense, and it's got to stop.
Now the latest tonight on that concert terror attack. More police on the streets here in the U.S. after that explosion in Manchester, England. Britain's terror threat level has been raised to critical. The United Kingdom will deploy soldiers to take over guard duties at key sites so that elite police can then focus on the threat of possibly another terrorist attack. And tonight, 15 people still missing after 22 people were killed in that blast at the Ariana Grande concert. Team coverage for you tonight. Stepped up security here at home, but let's start with Rob Milgus. Rob.
Alan, investigators in England calling this a well-planned attack. They're still trying to determine if the terrorist acted alone. And tonight, new information about the suspect who lived just a few miles from where he detonated that bomb. pure evil on the cover of The Sun. The young man on the right is suspected terrorist Salman Abedi. Police today raiding a Manchester home where they believe the suicide bomber lived with his brother. Haunting images of the blast site where children were among those killed, hit by nuts and bolts. Bethany Keeling was near the exit when the bomb went off.
Grabbed my friend's hand and just ran. But we looked and we could see the bodies on the floor.
Among the dead, 8-year-old Safi Roussos, separated from her mom and big sister. 18-year-old Georgina Callender had her picture taken with the pop star 2 years ago. She didn't make it.
So many young, beautiful, innocent people living and enjoying their lives murdered by evil losers.
Excuse me, I'm just asking if you've seen this young girl.
Olivia Campbell's uncle searching for his niece, her mother holding her 15-year-old daughter's picture, frantic.
If anybody has seen her, please contact the police. Contact somebody, let her know you've seen it.
Late word tonight, devastating news for her family. Olivia did not survive. Another possible attack in Britain imminent, according to the government there. And while no specific threat is here, there's stepped up security at a concert out in the suburbs. Eyewitness News reporter Eric Hong live at Allstate Arena for us tonight. Eric?
Rob, the artist The Weeknd is performing here tonight, and police patrols outside the arena continue at this hour during the show. Many of the officers heavily armed. Concertgoers arrived to officers in tactical gear and long security lines. Police on the roof, keeping an eye on the crowds.
I think it's necessary considering what happened yesterday, but I mean, I wish it wouldn't have to be like this.
At Wrigley Field, police and private security out in force, checking beneath vehicles, some measures routine. But the former head of Soldier Field Security, who was once a bodyguard for Ariana Grande, says the Manchester attack is a game changer for security officials, who now must protect crowds leaving an event.
Now we have to be more concerned not only with the ingress, we have to worry about the egress.
Tonight in Rosemont, fans undeterred.
I just think that when something scary happens, you shouldn't let anything else kind of scare you from doing the things that you want to do.
This afternoon, the FBI held a conference call with law enforcement nationwide, the Bureau unaware of any specific credible threat, but urging police around the country.
The investigation into Monday night's deadly bombing that targeted children and teens intensified today.
Can you move back down, please?
Police conducted 2 raids in Manchester and named the suspected suicide bomber for the first time.
The man suspected of carrying out last night's atrocity is 22-year-old Salman Abedi.
This home was stormed by armed law enforcement in connection with the investigation. Police say a 23-year-old man has also been arrested in South Manchester in relation to the terror attack that occurred around 10:30 last night.
Oh my God.
The blast was heard inside the Manchester arena just after an Ariana Grande performance, as many parents waited to pick up their children and crowds were streaming out of the exits. The explosion outside the venue near the box office was so powerful it can be seen and heard on this dash cam video from a parked car far from the detonation point.
The single terrorist detonated his improvised explosive device near one of the exits of the venue, deliberately choosing the time and place to cause maximum carnage.
ISIS has claimed responsibility, but a British counter-terror official tells CNN they have seen no links to known terror groups. President Trump was quick to condemn the attack in his own unique way.
I will call them from now on losers, because that's what they are. They're losers.
Immediately following the blast, thousands fled the scene, leaping over chairs to escape.
We managed to get through the doors, and how we wasn't crushed to death is a miracle.
This witness described shrapnel injuries reminiscent of previous terrorist bombings.
Obviously, when we've seen children like that as well with blood in, we were having to pull nails out of their arms and stuff, and a couple out with this little girl's face.
Police are frantically examining the bomb remnants for clues, while experts say this was more sophisticated than the work of a lone wolf.
How did this bomber learn how to make this? In general, it's, I think, highly unlikely that he just learned about it on the internet.
As the United Kingdom reels from its worst attack since 2005, security across the country is stepping up. The Prime Minister vowing terrorists will not prevail.
My deepest condolences to those so terribly injured in this terrorist attack, and to the many killed and the families, so many families, of the victims. We stand in absolute solidarity with the people of the United Kingdom. So many young, beautiful, innocent people living and enjoying their lives murdered by evil losers in life. I won't call them monsters because they would like that term. They would think that's a great name. I will call them from now on losers, because that's what they are. They're losers. And we'll have more of them. But they're losers. Just remember that. This is what I've spent these last few days talking about during my trip overseas. Our society can have no tolerance for this continuation of bloodshed. We cannot stand a moment longer for the slaughter of innocent people. And in today's attack, it was mostly innocent children. The terrorists and extremists and those who give them aid and comfort must be driven out from our society forever. This wicked ideology must be obliterated, and I mean completely obliterated, and the innocent life must be protected. All innocent lives. Life must be protected.
Yeah, bro. Fuck. Fuck, I got that too. Fuck.